Welcome to Proctorville, Ohio, home of the Carl York Center, home of the Fighting Fairland Dragons. Today, our matchup will be between the 8th grade Fairland or 7th grade Fairland Dragons and the 7th grade South Point Pointers. With me today is my good friend Patrick Frazier, and I'm Adam Alt. We'll be commentating the game for you today and the matchup here. Coach, what do you expect to see here today between these two teams?
Well, we expect both teams to come out fast, come out quick, try to set the pace of the game early, and hopefully put themselves in position to win coming into the game.
You know, with 7th grade basketball, I always felt it's more about fundamentals and getting kids better. So I fully expect to see these coaches do a lot of coaching today and a lot of getting these kids in the right position. And hopefully the second half of the game, the adjustments, the game will be much better at the second half. Right now, we're going to wait and watch for the starting lineups for the South Point Pointers and the Fairland Dragons.
Number 10, Emily Terry. Number 11, Maddie Comer. Number 15, Asha Spencer. Number 22, Diamond Ferrari. And number 24, Emily Witt. Now for our own Lady Dragons. Number 4, Bailey Rowland. Number 10, Bailey Smith. Number 11, Jenna Stone. Number 12, Hannah Stroud. And number 23, Sammy McComas.
As we go to tip-off here, we'd like to thank our sponsors, the Proctorville Center of OU and Ricky Schiffko, State Farm Insurance. Fairland won the tip and turned the ball over. Ball goes to South Point. Nope, must have been tipped. Fairland ball.
Turnover by Fairland. South Point's coming down the floor.
Seems like Coach Blake feels like early, at least, he has a size advantage, trying to get it inside to Sammy McComas. Let's see what South Point's philosophy is here. Nice little driving kick by number 11, Maddie Coulavon. The rebound and the putback by Bailey Smith. Seems like Fairland's coming out guarding man-to-man. South Point really working the ball around the perimeter, trying to drive the lane. We get a nice drive and kick by number 15 to number 11, Maddie Coulavon.
Shot by number 4 long. Rebounded by 11 for South Point.
Foul by number 10, Bailey Smith. Coach, it really seems like we have two different styles here today. It seems like Coach Blake from Fairland's trying to get the ball inside, and Coach Joy's trying to work the perimeter, really running that weave, trying to get into the traffic and kick for shots.
Yeah, looking to use his speed for South Point. Fairland's trying to use their height underneath. So the differing styles make for an interesting game. You see how the coaches adjust.
And I always, you know, you and I both coach middle school basketball. You know as well as I do. Adjustments at the middle school level maybe mean more than any other level, just because, like I said before, it's all about developing these kids and teaching them how to play basketball. And adjustments are important, but just as important is, can the kids understand the adjustments on the fly?
Absolutely, Coach. At this level, man, they're just really learning the game at this speed.
Inside to number 10, Bailey Smith. She turns and shoots. No good. Off South Point, Fairland ball. Out of bounds into the basket, Fairland. Into Bailey Smith. Up, miss. Rebound, Jenna Stone. Good hands there by number 11, Maddie Kulavon.
Out of bounds off South Point's going to stay with Fairland.
I know talking to South Point's coaches earlier, they were really high on Maddie Kulavon. She actually plays a little bit of 8th grade basketball for them.
Number 10 shots blocked, rebounded by number 11. Maddie kicks underneath. Basket's good and the foul.
Again, South Point using their speed to get up and down the floor to try and beat Fairland's size before they can set up. It's been successful here early.
That foul's on Jenna Stone.
Number 15, Spencer, to the line to try to complete the three-point play. Shots long, rebounded by number 24, Witt.
Stolen by 10 from Fairland. Number 10, Baisley Smith, fouled on the play.
Fairland's done a very good job of getting the ball on the block. They're just not converting, Coach.
Yeah, they're just not getting those looks they need yet. No clean looks. First free throw is good.
She gets a nice, generous roll on that one.
And she converts a second as well. Again, South Point spreading the floor, looking underneath. Ooh, just a little high on the pass. Fairland ball underneath.
Nice back cut by number 11, Maddie Kulavon. The pass is just out of her reach. There was no help side there. She definitely had a layup if she could make that catch.
Yeah, that backside defense has got to crash down on that cut. They didn't even see it that time. 15, Sydney Bain reports into the game for Fairland.
Nice
Pass goes in to her.
Rowland.
Good job, Babe. Yeah.
And we have a foul on the play. Number 4 is fouled on the play. Bailey Rowland.
Work hard, 4.
Number 24, Emily Witt on the foul.
Number 4, Bailey Rowland to the line to shoot 2.
She converts the first. Number 35, Olivia Curd reports in for South Point.
Heads up play by number 4, Rowland, just couldn't quite keep it in bounds.
We're halfway through the first quarter. Fairland 5, South Point 6. Again, Fairland staying in the zone. Oh, no man to man.
Number 11, Jenna Stone, bringing the ball to the floor. Again, Fairland dominating the paint, just can't convert.
Well, they can't buy, but 3 good looks there and couldn't get a bucket. Off Fairland stays with South Point. Coach, those are 3 great looks underneath. They just couldn't get the roll.
Some of those inside players just need to calm down and try and be a little stronger, maybe slow down a little bit and try and convert those shots.
Yeah, you'd hope those baskets will fall as the game goes and they get a little more comfortable with the pace. Those shots will start falling.
That was number 10, Carey, with the wide open 3 on the inbound play. Looks like they run the same thing. Fairland makes the adjustment. Back to the inbounder, number 24. Witt for the 3, no good. Rebounded by Stone.
Heads up past the 4.
Bailey, shoot the ball.
That was a great throw ahead by number 11, Jenna Stone, to Bailey Rowland. Rowland being a little too unselfish. Had the better shot than the girl she passed to, needs to shoot the ball.
Fairland the inbound, out of the stack, onto the block. Another short basket, just won't fall for the Dragons. South Point's pushing the ball up the floor. Number 24, Emily Witt's fouled by 11. Jenna Stone.
2's win.
We have numbers 000 Brooklyn McLean checking into the game and Sammy McComas for the Dragons. First shot by Whit long.
Number 23, Sammy's coming back in. 0, Brooklyn McLean.
Let's go, Brooklyn. D it up, baby.
Second one long.
Good job, Hannah.
Shrout battling for the rebound, gets it, pushes ahead
Good look.
to McComas. Another missed easy bucket by the Dragons. Off South Point, Fairland ball.
Coach Fairland's easily missed 8 to 10 of those 2-foot point-blank shots. They're going to need those to fall there in the game if they're going to hope to pull out the victory today.
Pop it, Jenna. Get there, Hannah. Oh.
Travel by number 12, Hannah Shrout. South Point basketball. Fairland staying in the man-to-man. Euro step by number 24, Witt, off the front of the rim. Rebound by number 15, Spencer. Number 15 from Fairland, Sydney Bain with the rebound. Fouled, Fairland basketball.
Coach, South Point obviously feels like they can take Fairland's defense off the dribble. It's one pass and a cut to the lane, try to drive to the lane. I like to see Fairland help side defense kind of make an adjustment there.
Well, I'll tell you an adjustment that South Point needs to make is on those screens. The screener's not really rolling, and that would give the driver another option. And it's also going to be a lot harder to defend for Fairland if that screen girl rolls and really goes to the basket hard, because now you have two kids flying to the basket, and the help side isn't there. It's going to be a lot harder to guard.
Yeah, I agree. The Fairland needs to collapse down on those drives a little better. And if South Point's roller would come through the lane hard, Fairland doesn't have an answer for that right now.
Right now, South Point's just coming off those screens, and there's really not anybody there. They need to switch those on the screen or have a harder hedge. Again, if Fairland would hedge and that South Point girl would roll, she's going to be open because there is no help side right now. So let's see how Coach Blake makes an adjustment there guarding. And let's see how South Point keeps attacking that man-to-man. Turnover. Number 14, Crawley bringing the ball up the floor.
Great hustle play by number 12 from Fairland, Hannah Shrout. It's going to be South Point's ball on the side, but a great hustle play. I like to see kids hitting the floor, being aggressive. Inbound comes in to number 15.
Back to the inbounder, the most dangerous person on an inbound play.
Swinging the ball around, they're looking for somebody in there. See, I like to see South Point flash somebody in the paint a little harder, a little deeper, down up by the block. They're content right now with having 4 up high, making Fairland's defensive job a little easy right now. They finally drop a player to the block. Shot comes from outside.
Rebound by number 15, Sydney Bain. Outlet to Jenna Stone. Jenna looks ahead. Number 12, Hannah Shrout, was open but couldn't handle the pass. Was deflected, actually. Fairland ball.
12.1 seconds left in the quarter. Into the block, number 23. And Fairland makes the basket, Samantha McComas.
Finally converted one of those easy buckets. South Point really needs to make an adjustment on that inbound play. They've gotten it to the block every time.
Quarter ends with a three-pointer from Emily Carey from South Point. And that brings our score to Fairland 7, South Point 9. Coach, I couldn't agree with you more on your last comment. They need to take a little bit more advantage of those kind of plays.
Well, we're going to take a short break here. Thank you for watching the Tri-State Hoops Fairland Throwdown here on Armstrong Cable, presented by Ohio University. Welcome back to the Tri-State Hoops Throwdown here at the Carl York Center in Proctorville, Ohio, home of the Fairland Lady Dragons. Start of the second quarter here will be South Point's ball. Coach, what do you think of the first half or the first quarter of play there?
Well, I thought South Point was looking to use their speed to get to the basket on the offensive end. And Fairland, with the size advantage, is doing a great job getting the ball down on the post. Just need to get some more conversions. I think those conversions will be there as the game goes on, as long as the girls will stay patient.
Double dribble by number 23 from South Point. Actually, that was number 22, Crawley.
Number 10 from Fairland fouled on the play, Baisley Smith. Fouled by Maddie Coulavon. Bailey's going to shoot 2.
It's really been foul shooting that's kept Fairland in this game so far. I believe that's their 5th point off of foul shots.
If their percentage underneath the basket on the short shots don't improve, they're going to need those foul shots to stay in this game. Again, South Point continuing to stay wide. Screener.
Starting that screen roll action again that we talked about.
Another three-pointer from number 11, South Point, Maddie Coulavon.
Actually, I believe that was number 10, Carey.
All South Point's going to stay with Fairland.
Fairland out of bounds under the basket. 4 high at the foul line.
Oh my goodness.
Number 4, Roland with the attempt. Blocked out of bounds. Fairland ball.
It's a good look and good shot. Just happened a little late.
Now, South Point hasn't guarded this stack play very well. They've got it on the block every time, but Fairland's been equally as bad as converting here. So let's see how these adjustments happen here in the second quarter. South Point made the adjustment. They put the girl on the outside, not letting that ball get to the post. Fairland pops kid to the corner, but they just missed the shot.
Yeah, and that's what South Point's going to need to do. They're going to have to make Fairland size shoot from outside 5-6 feet.
Great back tip by number 11, Coulavon.
I didn't want y'all to sit by me anyways. Okay. You should. I had to really do that.
Genesone on the feed to number 4, fouled on the play. It's Bailey Rowland.
Great cut by Roland. Little give and go action.
On the line for 2 will be Bailey Rowland.
Fairland's kind of lived on the foul line this first half here. If I'm Coach Joy, I might be in the official's ear letting them know the foul shooting discrepancy that's going on right now.
Another made foul shot from Fairland.
Again, foul shooting really keeping Fairland into the game. That's about 6, maybe 7 points from the line.
Swinging the corner, kick out to the top of the key, drive. Still looking to weave through, trying to find that open shot or open lane. Fairland's doing a nice job collapsing that lane one-on-one. There's the help defense for the first time from Fairland. Nice step down from number 10.
So
Fairland's
much
got
better
the ball.
adjustment.
Basket by number 4,
Bailey
Rowland.
Rowland. You know, for Fairland size, they do a very good job in the break.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. They're getting the rebound, they're getting the ball out quick, looking ahead. It's a nice thing at this level to see the kids doing. Another
Nice
step back
hesitation
3.
move by number 10. Off of South Point white ball. Great defense by number 24, Witt. South
Point a
showing
little press.
Trying to exploit that speed.
Nice job, Fairland swinging the opposite side. Nice come across defense, number 35 on the steal.
South Point shows press. It works. Gets the turnover, turns it around. You know, Coach, something you see a lot in middle school basketball that you hope to see develop is the dominant hand. A lot of kids only being able to go to their right or their left hand, whichever hand they're dominant. And you hope by this time of the season you start to see kids really being able to go either way. It makes them so much harder to guard. And I feel like Fairland's really able to hang with Chesapeake's speed because maybe they're anticipating the right hand so much. And if some of these kids, and Fairland the same way, Jenna Stone, predominantly right-handed, taking up the right side of the floor.
Yeah, and at this level, you know, as going through youth, they're allowed to develop that strong hand. And it's a challenge for the coaches to really get these kids to believe in that opposite hand and to use it on a higher percentage. It makes you just such a bigger threat to defend. But once you notice a girl continually going one way, you know, you start cheating the girl that way. Make her go that other way. Make her beat you that way. That's a good coaching decision, good coaching move. 17-footer from South Point's long. But
5, Rosie Mann into the game, rebound, turns it over though.
Great look from number 10, South Point, Emily Carey on the assist.
South Point's really trying to speed the game up here. Let's see how Fairland's ball handling handles this pressure. And if they can stay confident and stay strong with the basketball and just keep the game at their speed and not let South Point speed them up.
Missed free throw from Hannah Strout, checking in the game for Fairland. Number 0, Brooklyn McCain.
Number 0, Brooklyn McCain, number 22, Diamond Crosby for the South Point.
Another made free throw from Fairland. Halfway through the third, 13-14 is our score. South Point ahead by 1.
Again, the differentiating styles. I think South Point has a couple threes. I think they have 3 of them. And Fairland's just living on the foul line, just forcing it into the paint, getting fouled. And it's just really making for an interesting game.
Yeah. 3 offensive rebounds from the Pointers there, draws them to foul. Number 24 is going to be going to the line, Emily Witt. Fairland's getting a little passive on the defensive end on boxing out. To be the bigger team, they're allowing that smaller South Point team to get the offensive boards on that possession.
Well, you know, sometimes a team that shoots a lot of perimeter shots, you have those long rebounds, and then that's the advantage to the quicker team. And I think that was an example there, is that rebound kind of went long. South Point quicker to the ball, and then it got Fairland out of position, and then they got the other rebound and the stick back or the foul.
Made foul shot from the Pointers. They're staying in the press. Good trap on the side. Fairland gets it across half court. Bad pass there, though. Threw it right into the defense. Number 22 on the steal.
That's a young kid just anticipating something to be open, not looking and making a read.
Yeah, that's those maturity adjustments and the learning curve at this age. You know, that's a mistake that she won't make, you know, too much more as she gets older.
Another three-point basket by number 24, Witt. South Point making a little bit of a run here. There it is again, another anticipating something to be open that's just not there. I think Coach Blake needs to take a timeout here and maybe calm his team down a little bit.
Number 24 on the drive, Witt, fouled by Fairland on the play. That foul's on Brooklyn McLean, and 24 Witt's going to go to the line for 2. I agree with you, Coach. I think Fairland might need to regroup and make a few adjustments there to help calm our passes down. They're making some mass substitutions here.
You can see the tempo of the game now going South Point's way, and now South Point's the one getting to the line because Fairland's having trouble playing at their speed.
Yeah, that tempo is forcing Fairland to be out of position and consequently, you know, make some fouls when South Point's driving to the basket. Long miss off the free throw, rebounded by number 10, South Point. South Point retains possession. Great look, backside and layup conversion. There's another example, Coach, of no backside at all, and I think Coach Blake sees it and calls timeout.
We had 2 guarding 1 there, and consequently, the young girl from South Point made a great read, ran to the backside block. Girl with the ball recognizes that she's double teamed, somebody must be open, finds the open man, easy points.
Yeah.
South Point on a little run here, up 21-13. Coach Blake in the timeout, trying to motivate his troops here.
Yeah, a 7-0 run, and it's really just because of South Point's pace. I mean, they've really sped the game up, and that looks like where they're the most comfortable. Fairland's struggling to keep up and get into position. Hopefully Coach Blake can get his kids to make the adjustments necessary to make a little comeback and stop this 7-0 run.
Probably going over his press break right now, Coach. Like, They've successfully gotten across half court twice and turned it over in the front court. Just maybe some kids uncomfortable with the ball outside of the paint. Hopefully he's calming them down, telling them to just turn and look, be strong with the basketball. If they don't have anything, they can just back it out and run some offense. They've been very successful in their half court getting quality shots in the paint, just not converting them. So let's see, coming out of that timeout here, how these two coaches make adjustments.
South Point's going to stay in the press. Looks like a diamond press.
Good flash by
Good
number
flash.
10.
Holds on the ball. That time she got deep enough in the lane where her backside teammate was open. She just didn't see her that time, Coach.
Well, she didn't see her soon enough. She got back tipped. I think she was getting ready to pass that ball, but back to the inbounder, Bailey Rowland.
Offensive rebound from 23 from Fairland. Steps through, looks underneath. Another short miss from Fairland. We have a jump ball.
Possession arrow, Fairland.
You know, Coach, if Fairland could have converted the 10 to 12, point blank shots, they would be not just ahead of this game, but really controlling the game. Right now, those misses combined with South Point's speed, making life a little tough.
Miss / pass to Sammy McComas. Over the back by Sammy McComas. I'll tell you, Coach, as a coach, I don't mind seeing those type of fouls. A kid just going after the basketball. It's the ticky-tack ones that I can't stand out in the front court. Girl beats you, you reach. Credit to Sammy McComas. She's just trying to make things happen. She's trying to go get the basketball. You don't mind seeing that as a coach.
Not at all. Not at 6 feet. And I agree with you, Coach. We don't need fouls, outside 17 feet. Another three-pointer made by the Pointers. And a turnover on the inbound by number 4. Stepped on the line. It's going to go back to the Pointers with 51.7 left in the half.
Again, credit Coach Joy for speeding this game up. I credit that turnover to the press. Girl gets the ball, trying to play at their speed and not just slowing down and play at their speed, and gets another unforced turnover.
Another offensive rebound by the Pointers. Number 10 looking to swing, and so they reset. Again, South Point being fairly patient here, looking for the right pass, the right shot. Fairland doing a good job of keeping defenders in front of them. Nice help there.
The best thing Fairland can do right now is not let South Point score, because now South Point can't get into their press, which will allow Fairland to come down and play a half-court game. So them beating the press really starts right now on the defensive end, forcing bad shots, rebounding the ball. South Point can't get in the press. That allows Fairland to bring the ball forward and play a half-court game.
Which is what Fairland needs to have happen to be successful here. We have a 1-and-1 situation here. Number 24 at the line, Emily Witt. Long rebound out to Fairland, number 15. Kicks to number 10, Bailey Smith. Looks ahead. Couple good passes. And the shot's made by number 4, Bailey Rowland. Not the prettiest shot, but it went in, and Fairland needed the basket.
Yeah, that's a shot that they needed right before the half. It gets it below 10. Maybe it's a little momentum booster, something Coach Blake can work with in the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, it's a great, like I said, 2 points to build on. Gets the lead to 9. And they really just need to be more calm against that South Point press. They're getting the ball across half court, like you said. Got some girls around 15 foot handling the ball, not real sure of themselves. I think he can get them calmed down, get the right combination of kids in the game to break that press. I think they could see some success. And, like you said, a few made baskets from Fairland will help calm that down. And then defensive rebounding will keep South Point out of that press. Just some adjustments that Coach Blake needs to look at for Fairland. What do you think Coach Joy needs to do to continue his success in the second half there, Coach?
I think he needs to stick with this press and just really try to make Fairland play at a pace faster than they're used to. He's done a great job at speeding Fairland up, turning that press defense into offense. It got them to the foul line much more when they went to the press, because I really think it made their kids more aggressive. And in the half court, they just need to keep being patient and keep running their offense and get those open threes. South Point's really living on that three-point line here in the first half. So halftime score here at the Carl York Center, 15 to 24, South Point lead. Welcome back to the Carl York Center in Proctorville, Ohio, home of the Fairland Lady Dragons. Halftime here at the Tri-State Hoops Throwdown. Fairland 7th grade versus South Point 7th grade. South Point leads by 9 here. Start of the second half. It's been a game of differentiating styles. Fairland really trying to get the ball into the middle and score. South Point really working the perimeter, pressing, trying to speed the game up, knocking down some perimeter shots and turning that press defense into offense.
Now, I like to see if Fairland can turn that into the half layup into some momentum going into the third quarter and see what kind of adjustments Coach Blake's made for that press.
So here we go, start of the second half. Puts Fairland on defense here. Looks like they're matching up, coming out man-to-man. And there's the start of the second half.
Like South Point staying there, same offense, cut through. Nice cut through by 10. That's the look we were talking about between. We have a foul on the play. I'm sorry, just a tip on the play. It's going to stay down here with blue.
You know, we talked about kids really learning how to play basketball, and number 10 there, Carrie, she cuts to the ball, and the Fairland defense over pursues it. She back cuts and gets a wide open layup. It's a great read.
Yep. 2 offensive rebounds here for South Point. Draws the foul. Again, offensive rebounds create baskets, and they create fouls.
There's a foul on number 4, Bailey Rowland. She felt like she got all ball, but, Coach, anytime you swipe like that at the ball, whether you hit the ball or not, the official's just going to call it.
Yeah, it's that perception of not having control of your arm and your hand on the play. First foul shot rims out.
At the line, Spencer for the pointers. Shooting 2.
Spencer makes her second. And South Point's starting the game back in half court, no press, but a quick turnover. Number 11 looks up ahead to Witt. Carey, and Carey on the basket. Tell you what, that Carey kid's got some nice speed, keeps her head up, gets to be where it's open, and there's another case, picks off a tip pass.
Again, I feel like even though South Point's not pressing, Fairland's really trying to play at a faster pace, and with the presence they have inside against South Point, they really need to maybe try and slow the ball down, and just like they did the first 4 minutes of that first quarter, try to get the ball inside.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there wasn't any kind of just frustration about those shots not falling. I hate to see them get away from that because that looks like they're going to be their success.
South Point going 1-3-1 here on this possession. Spencer tips the ball out, gets the rebound. Nice pass forward to Coulivan.
Give back to Spencer
for the layup.
And that's the fundamental basketball, Coach, you were talking about. You want to see at this level. Fairland.
Good look by number 11, Caitlin Stone, to Sammy McComas for the layup.
Yeah, got the ball on the floor. South Point collapsed the ball a little aggressively and left the backside block open. Fairland in a 1-3-1 zone or something.
No, they're still in man.
They're just kind of a standing man.
Coach, sometimes it's hard to tell if a team's in man-to-man or zone if the ball's not moving because you can't see how the kids are shifting and rotating. So
yeah, Fairland's packing that man-to-man underneath the foul line too. They're not really pressuring South Point outside the arch.
Again, South Point in this 1-3-1.
High screen, cut through. South Point defends it well. Looks underneath. You know, that's a jump ball there, Coach. And if Sammy takes one more step to the block and gets off of that girl's hips, you know, she's got the catch for the layup. And that's one of those little coaching moments, fundamental moments that Coach Blake can work with when he sees the tape on this next week. Three-pointer from 4. Made. Big three-pointer from Bailey Rowland.
Brings it back to a 9-point game. That was some much-needed three-point shot for Fairland. Let's see how South Point reacts here on this possession.
I'd like to see South Point move just a little bit more. I mean, they're staying 4 out. They're going at a girl, and she's cutting through. Great elbow shot. Number 10, again, Emily Carey. Just real impressed with this kid's speed, athleticism, and shooting ability.
That time the help on the drive came from the ball side, and the girl that the help came from, recognized, and just set up for the shot, kick out, easy bucket.
South Point being patient, looking for their passes, looking for the driving lanes. Like to see someone flash strong side block there, strong side lane for South Point.
Number 10 making another great read.
And three-pointer.
Shot. Cuts through the lane, sees that Stone, over pursues, flares back to the weak side, easy three-point shot.
Good offensive rebound and putback by number 10 for Fairland, Baisley Smith. They need those kinds of possessions.
Credit Sammy McComas for the unofficial assist, battling there to get the ball and kind of knocking it back to Bailey Smith.
Good job, Jenna.
Good defense by Jenna Stone. Forces a turnover. Fairland's pushing the ball. Great look up ahead to Sammy. And the layup conversion. Fairland playing a little bit of South Point's game there. I don't know if they want to do that on a consistent basis, but in that scenario, it was a good play, good look, good score.
The big difference there for McComas making that shot, she caught it, got her feet under, got a good base, went up, wasn't rushing her shot. She doesn't need to rush her shot. South Point doesn't have any shot blockers out there. She just needs to go up strong, either make the layup or get fouled.
Yeah, at her age, that's a great recognition. She just kept it slow. Getting kids at this age to just keep the game slow and not let it get ahead of them, that's a difficult task. They want to make things go fast.
Good rip through by number 15, Spencer. Offensive rebound, Jenna Stone. Can't quite keep her feet.
Good collapsing defense by 12 there. Basket's good. South Point, number 11, Maddie Coulivan.
Again, coach is over here motioning for McComas to cut across the lane. Ball goes to the corner. You need some kind of flashing movement towards the ball. McComas would have been wide open.
Yeah, Coach, you're right. When that pass goes that corner, I'm making the arm movement. Can't see on the camera. Come through, she steps through. There's no one there to guard her. Number 10, great offensive rebound and putback. Way to play a little bit bigger than she is, number 10, Baisley Smith.
Fairland really starting to make those inside shots, but South Point's got things rolling right now too, and they're really making Fairland come out and guard, creating that space, and they're getting easy buckets around the rim, and they're getting wide open jump shots.
Yeah, good defense there by the Dragons, surrounding the girl, causing the jump ball. 35, Olivia Curd reporting in for the Pointers. Pointer ball underneath. Kick out, 15 for the shot. Oh, rolls in and out. Offensive rebound, number 24, Emily Witt. South Point's going to reset.
Good defense by Jenna Stone.
A little hesitation, kick out. That's one of those ticky-tack fouls we talked about earlier, Coach, at 17 feet that just doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, that's just being too aggressive. That's a foul that number 10, Bailey Smith, needs to recognize that she's not getting that basketball. Just stay behind and play good defense.
Yep. They want to steal every ball that comes towards them. Three-pointer from the Pointers, number 24, Emily Witt.
Again, I like to call that America's play, because just about every team runs a play back to the inbounder for a three-point shot. South Point does it, unguarded, wide open three.
Hannah Strout, nice backside rebound and putback for the Dragons. We're down to 9 seconds left here in the third quarter. Fairland needs a good defensive stand this last 5 seconds to see what they can do here. 23-footer for Witt, no good at the buzzer. Sorry, that's Emily Carey on that shot. Quarter's going to end with the Pointers up 39-28.
You know, as Fairland really made some adjustments, got the ball on the inside, slowed down, made some shots. Even a smaller player like Hannah Strout gets that backside rebound. She slows down, she makes the shot. But Fairland still loses that quarter by 2. South Point building on their lead. They're doing a great job offensively of really making Fairland guard away from the basket, and they're exploiting those back cuts for layups and they're exploiting the over pursuit for flares for wide open shots. So let's see how Coach Blake makes an adjustment here defensively. Offensively, he's made great adjustments.
Yeah, I agree on the offense. Fairland's doing some things to create some more shots, but I will, again, credit Coach Joy keeping his kids patient in the half-court offense, not trying to force anything, not trying to force anything into a double team, looking for that open lane, looking for that open girl underneath. And in their case, with the way they're shooting outside, looking for that open girl outside the arch.
I'm anxious to see if South Point goes back to that press this quarter, kind of finish out the game. We'll see what Coach Joy does here in the fourth quarter. I'd like to thank our sponsors here at the Tri-State Throwdown, Ohio University Proctorville Center. Have any higher educational needs, please contact the Proctorville Center. And Ricky Schiffco, the State Farm insurance agent here in Proctorville, Ohio. Have any insurance needs, be sure to see Ricky Schiffco. He'll be glad to give you a quote, help you out any way he can. Start of the fourth quarter, ball goes to Fairland. Seems like we have maybe a jump.
Fairland's flashing through. Still doing a little stand, and Ford takes the shot long on the three. South Point rebound. It's like not everybody was real sure on that offensive set where they needed to be.
That's probably an ill-advised three right there, but that's just a young kid not understanding when the right time to take a shot, when the wrong time to take a shot. You take a good open three on a reversal, on a kick out, but when the defense is already set right in front of you, that's just a really hard shot to convert. Coach Blake trying to motivate his kids. They're going to have to get out and pressure and try to cause some turnovers here to get back into this basketball game.
Offensive rebound by the Pointers. But tell you what, Fairland on the floor trying to tip the ball away. South Point remains possession. What a great pass by number 10 to the backside block. She's fouled on the play. 15 Spencer's fouled on the play, but all set up by Emily Carey's backside block pass. And Coach Blake seen enough to where he knows he needs to take a timeout. Timeout Fairland. South Point's going to come back from that timeout to shoot two.
I tell you, Coach, number 10, Emily Carey, I've really been impressed with her this game. Very small in stature kid, and lots of times when you don't have the size or maybe the great speed, you really have to work on your skill set and reading and understanding the game. And as a 7th grader, she really understands how to play basketball, how to get open. It's obvious she works on her shot. She works on her ball handling. She's a really solid kid. Spencer to the line to shoot two. First one up and long.
Fairland really needs the box out here if this is a miss. Get a good possession, set the tone for the quarter.
I'm anxious to see on a make if South Point presses out after a timeout.
After
a timeout, made foul shot. It's a great time to press.
Ill-advised pass, turnover by Stone. South Point
converts.
Quick inbound from Fairland will help. But another turnover forced by South Point. Coulavon on the drive. And the layup. South Point on another little mini run here. Ball got kicked away. South Point's going to stay in this press, try to make Fairland beat it.
I'd like to see South Point backs up.
I
was going to say, I'd like to see Fairland flash some of their 4s and 5s from half-court catch and then get their guards going down the floor to beat the pressure.
Yeah, Fairland's 4s and 5s like being on the edge right now. Get them to the middle so they can hit the guards flying down the floor. South Point.
Much better shot that time by Rowland out of the kick out from the corner, much more open in rhythm. Didn't fall, but that's a shot they need right now to try and get back in this game.
Another offensive rebound puts South Point back in their offensive set. 3 points long, 15 on the putback backside. What a great play by 15, Alicia Spencer. Backside rebounding, getting correct position. That's something you really coach and work hard on at this age, and she did a nice job. Fouled on the way up, she'll go to the line for two.
You know, especially in middle school basketball and younger, kids don't have great leaping ability like they do in maybe high school or college, and boxing out becomes way more important because you're not going to be able to elevate and get those rebounds that are high. So you've got to really box them out and create that space that you can go get the basketball when it kind of comes off that rim.
South Point's Spencer converts 1 of 2. Shrout back into the game for the Dragons. South Point staying out of the press.
South Point into a 2-3. Those two girls on the top of that 2-3 look like they're ready to jump the ball and double team. Great defense by Jenna Stone. If she falls there, Coach, she probably gets the offensive foul. But, again, that's just a young 7th grade kid not understanding how to play the game.
Yeah, her footwork and positioning was perfect. Again, she just absorbs the contact, takes the floor. You know, she's going to get that charge call more likely than not.
That's where Fairland needs a drama department to just fall down and scream and really sell that call.
Sell that call, that's right.
Again, South Point throws the ball in. Inbounder slips to the corner, wide open 3. They just don't convert at that time.
Yeah, Fairland hasn't really adjusted to that shot all game. And with South Point's three-point making ability, they need to be aware of that. Good backside block look to number 10. Feed from Stone. That's a great look, Jenna to that pass.
I'll tell you, Fairland's half-court game is very good. It's very good. They just need to work on guarding in the half-court set, and they need to work on beating the press. The pressure's really affected them this game.
Yeah, and again, I think the press adjustments are just getting their 4s and 5s a little comfortable, having the ball in their hand at the half-court line and seeing their guards, finding their guards, and just a little confidence, you know, something you can work on in practice to get that confidence level up because, you know, with Fairland size, they're going to get pressed this year.
Yes.
And so just something a little teachable moment for them to improve. Fairland coming out, a little pressure out here up top of the front court.
Well, they're going to have to start taking chances now, Coach. They're down 15. There's 3 minutes left. They're going to have to really speed things up offensively, which really isn't their game. They're going to have to start taking quick shots to try and get back in this game. And defensively, they're going to have to get out in passing lanes, which is a catch-22 because South Point's done a great job of back-cutting all game. So you make that risk to get that steal, that South Point kid's back door, and if your help's not there, it's just a layup.
And you know, you can do little things to slow the ball game down, you know, fouls and stuff, but South Point's been a pretty decent foul shooting team this game. So you're not even real thrilled with taking them to the line. There's a hold there, number 0, Brooklyn McLean. Just a little hustle foul, but one that you really don't want to have at 19 feet away when the offensive player's not even looking at the basket.
Fairland committing their 7th foul, which will be 1-on-1 the rest of the quarter. This right here is where South Point can solidify the game. If they can make foul shots, the game is pretty much over. But if they start missing foul shots, Fairland gets rebounds, starts converting on the offensive end, then you're talking about a possible comeback.
Yeah, and that's that case at any level too, middle school all the way up to the pros. Making those foul shots at the end of the game can, you know, give you the win or allow the team to come back. South Point content with the ball out there at 27, 28 feet. Fairland stepped up their defense a little, coming off a screen, kick out to the wing. 12 takes her on a crossover to the hoop and lays it in and is fouled from number 11. Nice little crossover move, number 12, Allie Lively, for the basket. See if she can complete the 3-point play.
So with the round shooting 1, number 35 checking in, Olivia Curry.
Coach Joy doing a little coaching on the sidelines here in this foul shot.
South Point gets the long rebound. It seems like every long rebound has went to the pointers this morning. Again, South Point content holding the ball out there above the 3-point line, just trying to be smart, looking for open passes.
I'm really impressed with the patience that South Point has in offense this morning. Coaching 7th grade boys, I can tell you, that was maybe the hardest thing to teach the kids how to do, to be patient offensively. And they're doing a great job. And of course, as soon as I say that, you have a foul away from the ball, Fairland basketball. And that patience really is a credit to coaching.
Oh, absolutely. You know, kids at this age are a little excitable game again. We talk about keeping the game slow. South Point's Coach Joy, has done a nice job of instilling in his kids how to keep the game slow in their mind, slow on the floor, and just no need to rush anything. Again, that's at any level. rushing plays, rushing shots, just doesn't create good looks. Good step through take for Jenna. It's off the rim. Rebound by number 2, and tied up by the Pointers. It's going to be Pointer ball off the jump ball. Minute 48 left to go in the game.
You know, credit to Coach Blake. I feel like he's made the right adjustments down through the game, but I feel like South Point's countered, and just the pressure that South Point was able to bring was maybe a little more than Fairland's guards could handle. But a great game plan of getting the ball to the middle, trying to exploit size. And again, if they make those easy shots early in the game, this might be a completely different game. You might have South Point playing from behind, trying to catch up. So credit to Coach Blake. I feel like his coaching strategy and his adjustments down through the game were all the right things. It's just sometimes that's the way the ball bounces.
Yeah, no, Fairland's adjustments were right, and those just missed opportunities in the first quarter, could have changed the dynamic of the whole game. It's not that the game plan was bad, wrong, or anything. It's just, he said, ball bouncing, one team's way other than the other. Coach Blake, Coach Joy both done a nice job having their kids prepared for this game.
Double dribble by number 12. Lively beat Fairland basketball.
Good job, Jana.
Coach Joy screaming matchup, going man.
Looking for that cut through.
That's a shot Fairland needs to take right there. That she needs to understand we're down, I'm wide open. Maybe I don't normally take this. This isn't part of my game, but right now, that's a shot we take. We're wide open. We've got to try and get back in this game.
Winding down under 20 seconds to go. South Point with the ball.
Immediately following the basketball game, we will present the State Farm Insurance Player of the Game, presented by Ricky Shifko, the insurance agent here in Proctorville. It'll be presented to the player on each team who had the best game. Congratulations to the 7th grade Lady Pointers with the victory here this morning, 47-30 over the 7th grade Lady Dragons. Very good, exciting game to watch. Let's wait for the announcement here of Player of the Game.
We have 2 awards by one of our sponsors, State Farm, Ricky Shifko, from here in Proctorville. And our first award will be to Fairland. It's a young lady named Brett Baisley Smith. And now for our South Pointers. It's our own number 24, Emily Witt.
Congratulations to Emily Witt and Baisley Smith, your State Farm Insurance players in the game. We're going to take a short break here at the Tri-State Hoops Throwdown, and we'll return to the Carl York Center, where the next game will be the 8th grade Lady Fairland Dragons against the 8th grade South Point Pointers. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to the Carl York Center, home of the Fairland Lady Dragons, here at the Tri-State Hoops Throwdown. We're getting ready for our second game of the day, which features the 8th grade Lady South Point Pointers against the 8th grade Fairland Lady Dragons. Teaching here at Fairland and coaching here at Fairland, I know, Coach, that the 8th grade team's got a lot of talent. They got some good size. I'm kind of anxious to see her after watching that 7th grade game, how South Point plays. I felt like they really were very well coached, made a lot of good adjustments down the game. So I'm really excited to see this second game. What are your thoughts?
At this age, like we talked about in the first game, it's about execution. Both coaches, I'm sure, prepared their teams well in practice leading up to the games. And now it's about the kids executing the plan on the floor. And typically, the best execution gets the W at the end of the day, and we'll see which one of these 2 teams is best ready to execute their game plan.
All right, there's the horn, and we'll pause here as they announce the starters for both teams.
Starting lineup for South Point. It'll be number 23, Monday. Number 4, Roach. Number 34, Zeke. And number 0, Bradley. And number 11, Columbia. And now for the Lady Dragons. Number 1, Jackie Wagner. Number 11, Allie Marshall. Number 24, Carly Ford. Number 32, Kelsey Warnock. And number 33, Tori Hall.
Okay, as we get to start here, coaches are Bill Blake for Fairland, and South Point's coach is Eric Freeman, who, Coach, you and I both know very well. We had a lot of classes with at Ohio University. Our sponsor here today, so anxious to watch both these guys coach against each other. We've known them for many years. I've known Coach Blake. He grew up down the road from me, and like I said, had several classes, more than several classes with Coach Freeman at Ohio University.
Yeah, we both are unique here and getting to know these guys for so long. And been looking forward to this game since I found out we were going to get to do this call this morning. So I wish them both the best of luck, and look forward to see a great game here from the Dragons and the Pointers. Getting ready to tip off.
Again, we'd like to give a big thanks to our sponsors here today, Fairland, Ohio University Proctorville Center, and Ricky Schiffko, the State Farm agent here in Proctorville. And we'd like to thank them for their generous donations and everything they've done in our community. And here's the tip. Won by Fairland. Great pass from Kelsey Warnock. Tori Hall couldn't convert, saves it. South Point comes up with the basketball, and they're going to slow it down.
Well, quick shot missed by the Dragons, but they were good hustle on both ends. Fairland coming out man-to-man. South Point's 8th grade, again, showing some of the patience we saw from the 7th grade game last. 23 on a crossover. Good defense by Marshall. She's taking the ball off the floor, looks up to 24. Great pass. Hall on the miss. Offensive rebound by Marshall. We've got a foul on South Point. Coach, first 3 shots of Fairland all at the basket. 0 for 3. I hate to say same thing twice here. Hopefully they can.
A little deja vu.
A little deja vu all over again. Fairland on the inbound, out back to the inbounder. We talked about how dangerous that was. And Warnock converts for the Dragons in the first 2 of the game.
South Point kind of benefiting there a little bit from the 7th grade game. The 8th grade team running the same inbound play. They line up. Fairland steps the inbounder back in. So just another thread to that inbound play that Coach Blake has.
Tip's going to stay here. South Point's going to get the ball underneath. Again,
for those of you
showing their patience.
Those of you watching at home, you're not seeing double. That is number 11, Kulavon, from the 7th grade game. South Point's 7th grade team was very good.
Rebound by Wagner from Fairland. Deep outlet to Marshall. And she's fouled on the take-up. Really nice look up from Jackie Wagner up to Allie Marshall. And Allie's going to shoot 2.
You know, Coach, not a lot of 8th grade kids could make that pass. Get the block, get the rebound on the block, turn around, outlet, past half court to a wide open streak in Allie Marshall.
Yeah, the strength and the confidence to make that pass. Coach Blake, that's a nice, nice asset to have on the floor. Marshall makes 1 of 2, and they're going to press. Looks like Fairland's into the press. South Point swings the ball the other side of the floor and gets to the cross half court. And they're going to set into their offense. Again, patient style offense from the Pointers. Fairland remains in man-to-man.
Some of them is going to be the reversal of the last game. South Point wanted to speed the game up, and Fairland wanted to slow it down. This game, it looks like Fairland's going to try to be the aggressor, speed the game up, and South Point's going to want to be patient and really work it in the half court.
Yeah. Both teams working to their strengths right now. Nobody really forcing anything. South Point, again, patience through. Gets it up to 23. Caitlin Mundy on the wing. And they're going to reset, swing it to the other side. Mishandled by Coolabon. It's going to be a turnover to the Dragons. Dragons need to be patient in defense as much as South Point's being patient in their offense.
It's very hard to defend for long periods of time, though, Coach. But Coach Freeman's got to be heartbroken there. A great 20-second possession and an unforced turnover. So that can be very frustrating for an offense.
Yeah, it's those execution things we look for in the game, especially at this age. Wagner on the block, on the miss. And South Point's going to get a foul on the rebound here, get the ball. Fairland's going to go stay back into their press.
Foul was on number 24, Carly Fuller. Fairland sets up in the press again. They were just not quite there fast enough rotating last time. Let's see.
They got the trap in the corner, didn't get the outlet. Coolabon on drive, but turns it over.
Great hustle by Tori Hall. She definitely altered that shot.
Saved by Warnock. Back to Marshall over the head. What a great play there. Great hustle play, athletic play from Warnock. Great to Marshall for the layup.
Great presence of mind to know that she has Marshall streaking behind her. Flips it behind the head, straight back to her. Great left-hand finish by Allie Marshall.
Yeah, we're talking about kids being confident with both hands. Allie able to finish with her left there. And, you know, just the presence of knowing your teammates behind you, I think a lot of that comes with the practice, but playing with each other as a team for many years coming through. She knew where Allie was going to be and had a nice save there. It's a great hustle play by Warnock.
You know, it's very interesting here to see, Coach Blake coaches the 7th grade team. Two completely different coaching styles for two different teams, and I really like that. I don't like when a coach is so set in their ways that they don't adjust to their personnel, and I'm really glad to see Coach Blake adjusting to his personnel and giving his team the best chance to win a game.
Yeah, and in this case, it's polar opposite personnel. And Coach Blake he does a nice job just, I bet his practices are interesting, getting from one mindset to the other, but he does a really nice job getting his kids in the best position, best flow of the game for them. Little skip pass across to the opposite elbow. Shots made by number 11, Coolabon. South Point's first bucket of the game here at 3 minutes to go in the first.
Fairland kind of running a 4-out-1-in set with Wagner in the middle.
Yeah, they're looking for the 4 to kind of flash through. Allie flashed through there, received the pass. It was tipped there out of bounds. They're going to remain possession underneath. Lob up to Wagner for the bucket. South Point may have a hard time stopping her. Jackie's got nice size, good finish at the rim.
Again, that's just another little thread that Coach Blake has in that stack. That's about 3 different ways we've seen Coach Blake get the ball in bounds and attempt to score. We've had the front girls pinning, we've had the lob there on that one, and we've had the inbounder step back in and score. So nice little inbound play there by Coach Blake.
It's nice to have 3 or 4 options that all are successful opportunities as a coach out of the same play. Makes it tough for the defense. Fairland, speaking of good defense there, Fairland, nice little side trap there by number 24, Carly Fuller, forces the turnover. Fairland's going to get the ball on the side here.
South Point really needs to get their kids moving. Makes it much harder for Fairland to guard there. Coolabon picks her dribble up. The other 4 girls kind of watching her, not really moving and cutting, forcing the turnover.
Turnover there, forced on a tip. Coolabon on drive, pulls it back out. Good defense there by Warnock, stopping that drive. Again, I like to see a little bit more motion out of South Point's offense. That turnover is probably caused as much by lack of motion than anything else. Tori on the shot. Tori Hall, nice offensive rebound by Warnock, just short. Wagner also misses on the offensive rebound. And Allie on Fairland's 4th offensive rebound of the possession puts it in for the 2. That size is a little tough for South Point to overcome right now.
Something that the 8th grade Fairland team's doing that the 7th grade team didn't do. They're missing a lot of layups, but they're converting on each possession. They maybe missed 2 or 3, but they're converting that third one. The 7th grade team, they never really converted, and that really ended up to be the difference in the game early, which eventually let South Point build that big lead.
Peyton Sturgis and McKenna Panel, I'm sorry, checking into the game for Fairland. Fairland staying in the press. Ball comes into Coolabon, trap on the side. And Warnock with the ripped steal. But then a turnover back to the point, drive, and the foul. Number 22, Peyton Sturgis on the foul. It's going to put number 23 for South Point, Caitlin Mundy at the line. Coach, that's the first time I've really seen South Point really push at the Dragons, and they get a foul on a putback. Is that something that South Point's, are they going to be okay pushing like that when they need to, or are they going to have to keep the game slow to meet their needs of their offense?
Well, you know, talking to Coach Freeman just a little bit there before the game, he spoke very highly of Mundy. So, you know, I expect fully to see when number 23, Mundy, gets the ball on a long rebound like that, she's going to be aggressive and attack the rim. Converts both her foul shots, so we'll see how that continues as the game goes on.
Feed into Marshall, tipped away. It's going to remain with Fairland.
On that play there, Fairland had success early getting the ball in the paint. South Point's kind of pressing down, kind of collapsing there. The flash to the elbow was wide open, but they tried to force it down. Fairland could have easily had an easy 2-point shot.
Nice little rip through, dribble into the lane for Peyton Sturgis, makes the basket. Fairland back into the press.
Fairland making another substitution. Thompson in the game. I believe that's already 8 people that Coach Blake here in the first quarters played and substituted.
Basket by the Pointers there. It's a great point you make. When you can get through 8, 9, 10 deep on your bench sometimes, that's an advantage that most teams at this level just don't have. Coach Blake blessed with that opportunity to be able to go to his bench several times a game, keeps the kids fresh. Coolabon on the drive. 23 seconds left to go in the half. South Point with the ball. Looks back block. What a great pass. Ball rims out on the shot, though. Great look by Coolabon to the open. Pointer on that backside block.
Really impressed with these 7th graders from South Point, not only from the 7th grade game, but coming up and making plays in the 8th grade game. Coolabon there. And, you know, you might say that's only a year's difference, but you and I both know, seeing a kid in 7th grade and then the next year seeing them in 8th grade, how much different, how much they grow, how much more athletic they can become. So just to see a 7th grader be able to compete against these 8th graders got to be exciting for Coach Freeman.
Absolutely. The three-pointer at the buzzer, just short. And as the first quarter comes to a close, Fairland's up 11-6.
We're going to take a short break here at the Tri-State Hoops Throwdown here at the Carl York Center. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Tri-State Hoops Throwdown here at the Carl York Center, home of the Fairland Lady Dragons. About ready to start the second quarter here with the 8th grade South Point Lady Pointers and the 8th grade Fairland Lady Dragons. Score here is now 11-6. Ball will go to the South Point Pointers. Coach, impressions on the first quarter of play?
I'll tell you what, Fairland's size and athleticism and depth really showed through that quarter. South Point, you know, still showing that same patience. And like you had mentioned at the end of the first, just the impressiveness of their 7th grade players. And we're about to see another one here. Number 10 from the 7th grade game. Carey going to run the 1 for him. Fairland stays in man-to-man. She's going to take the shot, 18 feet and hits.
Again, I talked about how well she read and understood how to play. She comes across, the defender goes underneath the screen, she pulls up, knocks down the 18-footer.
She's also extending the defense out on the guard too, so nice tip. Sturgis on the drive. Just long rebound by the Pointers. South Point can make a little run here, chip into the lead down to 3. See if they can get some points off possession here for Coach Freeman.
You know, again, Fairland's had success early with their pressure, but if they're not converting baskets, they can't get into their press. So I talked earlier about how they were finishing possessions. Maybe they were missing a couple shots. The last 2 possessions now, they've not been finishing, not been making those layups.
Dribble through and through. Number 4 for South Point pointers, again, is just staying patient, looking for their shot. I'm real impressed how they're just not taking a bad shot. They're not forcing anything. They're looking for something to come to them. Warnock in there on the tip. South Point retains possession, though. You know, Fairland, the more speedier and athletic team possibly, but you know, in this pace of game, South Point's taking that away from them. We got a tie-up, though, that will turn the ball over to Fairland.
That's about the 3rd or 4th tie-up that Warnock's caused. She's really a scrappy kid, and you and I both know that. She's a little ornery in class, but that's definitely her game. She's a very physical kid, very strong for her size.
Yeah, and again, we talked about how difficult it is to play defense for a long period. I thought the Dragons did a nice job not giving up anything easy. Sturgis' baseline shot a little short. Offensive rebound shot also short by Panel.
Thought a great possession there by McKenna Panel. Catches a tough pass in the lane. Great bounce pass to Sturgill. She misses, gets the offensive rebound on the putback. But again, if Fairland doesn't convert, it's not going to matter.
Thompson on the recovery of the tip. Looks underneath to Jackie Wagner. She's fouled on the shot. It's a good look by Brittany to Jackie. She's going to go to the line for 2.
You know, again, talking about how middle school kids need to understand how to play the game. Wagner's by far and away the biggest kid on the floor. South Point doesn't have a kid that's going to block her shot, and she needs to understand that she can slow down, square up, be strong and score instead of just kind of flipping it up over her head.
Wagner 1 for 2 on that set of free throws.
This allows the Dragons to set up their press.
And they do. Pointers do a good job getting the ball in the middle of the floor and cross half-court line with ease. And Carey's running the 1 for the 8th grade team as she did for the 7th grade team last game. We got a foul on the Dragons, number 24. We point her ball underneath.
24.
Great read by number 23, Mundy, but she doesn't need that dribble, Coach. She just needs to catch and go straight up.
You know, catch the ball and not bring the ball back down. The kids want to dribble or they want to bring the ball back their way. So, you know, we teach, catch high, finish high at this level. Great cut through by Marshall, just short on the shot, rebounded by South Point.
Again, Marshall, a very long, lean, tall, athletic kid. Doesn't need to rush her shot.
No, it's a good drive there by number 23, who's Caitlin Mundy. You know, we've talked about Mundy a couple times already. You know, she could be a difference maker for South Point. Offensive rebound by Wagner, again showing her size. This time she catches high and finishes high and gets the bucket. Steal by Marshall, over to Thompson. 2 misses there, and South Point's going to retain possession. Up ahead to number 32.
Good position defense by number 1, Jackie Wagner. Great throw ahead, couldn't quite handle it. Foul on number 33, Tori Hall.
He talked about Jackie Wagner playing good defense on the other end. You know, a lot of times at this age, you'll see kids not just go straight up. They're going to come down with their hands. They're going to create contact that they don't need to. Jackie, good awareness, staying straight up, playing great positional defense.
Great defense, girl.
In for the Lady Dragons, number 23, Doodle Kazee.
Long rebound, South Point. Mundy, she's fouled on the way up. Carey's three-pointer come off the rim a little long. And we talked about in the last game how those long rebounds sometimes benefit the offense. And that's a case where Mundy was able to grab the ball 12 feet, take a dribble in, get fouled for 2 shots here.
So far, I think Mundy perfect at the line, 3 for 3. Again, sometimes the teams can be too aggressive. Send a team to the foul line, keep them in the game.
Had a lane violation on South Point there. Number 4 come into the lane after the shooter had the ball. It's one of those coachable moments you get to have in practice later on next week. Fairland brings the ball down the floor. South Point in man. Good look underneath. 22. Sturgis turns and misses. We've got a foul on number 11, Allie Marshall.
Thought a great look to Sturgis in the paint, but again, rushing her shot, not squaring up, not shooting. Looks like the Lady Dragons have committed 7 fouls already and put South Point in the bonus. We'll be shooting 1-on-1.
You know, in the 7th grade game and so far this game, Coach Freeman and Coach Joy got their kids decent foul shots. Top shooters at the line. It's a great thing to have at this age level. But a turnover there from the Pointers gives the ball back to the Dragons. A minute 55 left in the half. Little hustle foul underneath by number 4.
Caitlin Roach.
It's going to give the Dragons the ball underneath. Now we've seen 3 or 4 options out of this stat coach. No Jackie Wagner in the game this time. Let's see if Coach Freeman maybe makes an adjustment on how he defends this. Sturgis turns around, goes up. Nice shot, just long. Doodle Casilla on the rebound. Assist back to Warnock for the basket. Great look, great bounce pass by Doodle.
Allows Fairland to get back into their pressure.
And turn South Point over.
Mundy trying to throw it off of Warnock's leg. Misses. Out of bounds, Fairland basketball. Again, Coach, we talked about Fairland needs to finish possessions to be able to set up that press.
Look underneath to Marshall, goes long. Yeah, Fairland's a much more effective defensive team off of making into that press. Defensive rebound by Torrey Hall. Ball's on the floor loose, scrapping for we have a jump ball.
It's a great hustle play by Allie Marshall. I can tell you, Coach, you want to talk about a kid that's a great athlete. As a 7th grader last year, I'm pretty sure won the conference in 3 different track events. Set the middle school high jump record here at Fairland, and just keeps getting longer every time I see her.
Yeah, and a lot of time at this age, you know, coordination doesn't always come with length, and in her case, you know, she handles her size and height and just agility just really, really well. Great developmental athlete at her age. Fairland swinging the ball through back to the baseline to Sturgis. Back to the top of the key to Warnock, swings back to the block and looks underneath. Pass that maybe didn't need to happen there. Another tie-up, hustle play. It's going to stay here with the Dragons on the side.
You know, right now Fairland's really moving the ball well offensively, and they're making great passes and great plays. Sometimes they're just a little slow on the rotation and passing. Sometimes the player's just not stepping completely to the ball, and that's just little things that we talked about. Here at this level, you need to work on and get better at every time.
Fairland showing her height there on 3 offensive rebounds, but no conversion of points. Out ahead to Carey. Misses the layup. Back to an offensive rebound for the Pointers and the bucket with 15 seconds to go.
Number 23, Caitlin Mundy.
And a travel on the Dragons turns the ball over to South Point with 9.2. You know, Mundy and Carey both maybe playing a little bigger than they are, trying to equal out Fairland's size. Fairland's going to go ahead and press off the side inbound. Mundy's dribbling. Great block by Jackie. Gets his Vincent position, gets it out to Marshall, who slings it ahead a little sooner than she needed to. And that's how the quarter will end, with the South Point Pointers down 3 to the Fairland Dragons, 16-13.
All right, guys, we got a little halftime.
Well, Coach, what's your thoughts of the first half of the game here as we approach halftime?
Well, I tell you what, I think Fairland's size can, really handle South Point on the offensive, defensive end. They're getting a little deep on offense on the block, making those layups a little harder than they need to be. But they're playing well on defense. For South Point, Mundy's taking the ball to the hoop real well, and their 7th graders are really stepping up, playing a big role in this game. Now they only have 1 quarter apiece, so we'll see what adjustments Coach Freeman has to make in the second half. But I tell you, going into this game, we knew we'd see differing styles and a 3-point lead for the Dragons at the half. I'm sure Coach Blake would like to see that lead a little higher, just some missed opportunities on the offensive end.
Well, you talked about the 7th graders from South Point, how well they played here in the 8th grade game. I would have to think we're going to see number 24, Emily Witt, from the 7th grade team at South Point. She was the player of the game last time, the State Farm Insurance player of the game. She has another quarter. I'm sure that we'll see her at some point in the next half. I feel like Fairland does a great job in their press, but again, they're not completing shots on the offensive end to get in their game. And sometimes with kids this young, and it's something that I really preach at my JV kids at high school, is if we're going to press and speed up the game, we have to be like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and really attack defensively. And when we get the ball, if we don't have an easy shot in transition, we got to pull the ball back out and run good sets. And I feel like Fairland's speeding the game up, but they're speeding themselves up also and not slowing down on the half-court set. So that brings us to halftime here, where the home Fairland Lady Dragons 16, the visiting South Point Pointers 13. Welcome back to the Carl York Center here in Proctorville, Ohio, home of the Fairland Lady Dragons, as we are about to resume the second half here against the 8th grade Fairland Lady Dragons and the visiting 8th grade Lady South Point Pointers. Again, it was a very interesting first half. Kind of a half of, again, 2 different teams. Fairland wanting to press, South Point being very patient in their half-court offense. Really the thing that hurt Fairland was their lack of converting offensive baskets, because it prevented them from getting into their press.
Yeah, Fairland doesn't have any trouble getting the ball to the block. They're just not converting those shots once they get there. South Point's forcing them down a little bit, trying to make that angle a little harder. And for Coach Blake, I'm sure he just told his kids at halftime, hey, let's get the ball. We're taller than they are. Let's square up. Let's take our time. Let's finish our shot. And we'll put this game, help put this game out for us. For South Point, Coach Freeman's keep preaching that. I hope he keeps preaching that patience, keeps preaching that, that on defense and offense, both sides. And he should stay right in this game. I'm looking forward to an exciting second half.
Second half starts with South Point with the basketball. Again, Fairland coming out in a man-to-man. Number 23, Mundy, being guarded by number 11, Allie Marshall. And again, Coach, we talked in the first half about her length and great athletic ability, and that right there was a great example of it.
Yeah, that was, you can't ask for more. The tip, the steal, the layup, the finish. That's a great play by Allie. South Point's going to go to the line here. I will say this, I think when South Point's gotten the ball deep on the block early in a possession or on some kind of, transition, they've been able to get Fairland to commit to foul. Converting foul shots for South Point might be a key to keeping this game close in the second half.
If I'm not mistaken, Coach, that's the first foul shot that Mundy's missed there. So she's been very consistent at the line and really kind of kept South Point back in the game. She converts the second one, and that gives Fairland the 4-point lead.
Warnock quick out to Kazee, swings it over to Erin Hayden. First time we've called her name this morning.
I believe that will make 9 kids that Coach Blake has played today.
Yeah, just a depth that most coaches would be envious of. What a great cut through and up and under shot from Marshall. Fouled on the play. It's a nice athletic play again by that lean Marshall and with her length against the line.
Actually, Coach, looking at the bench, Coach Blake has played every one of his players, and that would make all 11 kids have seen the floor today.
Yeah, ask any coach in the area or really around hey, how would you feel if you could go 11 deep on your team in each game? And they'd start smiling and drooling about that opportunity. Coach Blake really lucky to have that kind of talent on his team. Off the made free throw, Fairland back into the press. South Point up the side with Mundy, breaks the press, looks to the middle to 43, a little short on the shot. It's a good look. Just need a little more strength on that shot from 43 for South Point.
That shot by South Point was allowed by Warnock not getting the sideline, and I've seen Coach Blake several times this game look at Warnock and say, you can't get beat up the sideline.
Nice offensive rebound and putback by Taylor Henderson, another first-time name we've called today. Aaron Hayden on the loose ball tip, back to Marshall, who travels and turns it back over to South Point. But a great hustle from the Dragons in the backcourt off their press.
You see, that time Warnock didn't get beat up the sideline, and it resulted in a turnover.
Little hustle play there by Warnock again. She's doing a really nice job controlling the middle of that floor, that back pass from the inbounder. At this age, you know, not allowing that swing back to the middle off the first pass in the press is key in your press being effective. Warnock's really doing a nice job there showing what good defense will cause.
Coach Freeman calling a timeout here. During this timeout, we'd like again to thank our sponsors, Ohio University Proctorville Center. If you have any higher educational needs, please contact the Proctorville Center of Ohio University. And also Ricky Shifko, the State Farm Insurance agent here in Proctorville, Ohio. If you have any car insurance, house insurance needs, I'm sure Mr. Shifko would be glad to give you a free quote and estimate and do anything that he can do to help you. At the end of the game, the State Farm Insurance Player of the Game will be presented by Ricky Shifko, and the most valuable player for each team will be presented with a very nice plaque. So as we come out of the timeout here, again, 4:52 left in the game. Fairland up 7 against the Lady South Point Pointers. The Pointers will be inbounding on the baseline. They will have the run of the baseline, and Fairland setting up in their press.
Dragons open up the third quarter here on a 5-1 run, and I think a lot of that is because of this press. I'm glad to see Coach Blake staying in it. South Point needs to just do a good job of getting the ball in, getting it to the middle, and breaking through. There's the ball in, looking to get it back. Fairland's trapping down low and turns it over. Warnock fouled on a shot. Again, South Point unable to get the ball back to the center of the floor with Fairland's press, causes a turnover, and Warnock's going to go to the line for 2.
South Point checking in another 7th grader, Spencer, number 15. Again, very impressive about the talent of this South Point 7th grade team. Warnock long on the foul shot. She'll be attempting the second one. Again, making this second foul shot vital to get into this press.
Fairland converts it again, allowed to get in it. Ball into Mundy. Warnock does a nice job of cutting the side off and traps in the corner. South Point still retains possession, but turns it over to Hayden, who turns around, misses. Offensive rebound, Marshall. Fairland and South Point both on the floor for a tie-up. Great hustle by both teams there. Coach Fairland's trap off that first pass. They're getting 2 girls over there, not allowing that ball to the center of the floor. What's South Point got to do? I mean, is there anything they can do other than getting some extra help over there?
Well, I think maybe instead of when they throw it to that first girl and she tries to attack the sideline, maybe trying to get it immediately back to that middle girl and swinging the ball and trying to beat it up the weak side. Really trying to attack that sideline. You know, Fairland's in a position that they can trap that. So maybe instead of attacking that sideline initially, try and get it straight back to the inbounder and swing it, come up the weak side.
South Point off Fairland's miss, able to push the ball up the floor and get a good look. Ball is just tipped out of bounds off South Point. South Point has got to keep Fairland from making baskets to keep them out of that press. You know, off a miss, South Point's offense is getting good looks. Against the press, they're having a hard time getting the ball up the floor. Turnover caused by the Pointers. Turned back over for a jump ball. Going to go back to blue. South Point's going to retain possession on the side.
Fairland backing up off of that pressure, allowing South Point to get in a half-court set here. Fairland still in that man-to-man. And I can tell you, Coach, Fairland is very long. Even their guards, like Warnock and Hayden, even though they might not be very tall, they're very quick to the ball, and that really adds maybe a dimension, a length to a player that doesn't have that great stature like, say, Marshall. So Fairland doing a very good job of pressuring the basketball and forcing bad passes.
Yeah, the team can usually handle somebody's length, 1 or 2 players, but Fairland's got length at all 5 positions. It makes it tough on the opposing team.
And again, there's another example. Marshall just kind of back tipping. Ball goes out of bounds. And if that's back tip more towards half court, that's probably a layup for Marshall.
Back to the inbounder on the side. Playing man-to-man by Hall. Swings back out, looks underneath. And the basket's converted for the Pointers.
I tell you, Wagner's lucky she didn't get called for the foul there. Again, she's swiping down at the basketball, and whether or not you hit the ball or the wrist, lots of times the official, they're just looking for that action, and they're going to call the foul.
Yeah. Marshall on a little fadeaway take to the hoop, gets the roll and the bucket. Fairland back into the press after the make. Good screen on the sideline there to free up Mundy on the drive. And she's fouled by Hayden going up. That's the first time I've seen South Point really screen that flare up the side, help free Mundy up getting the basket. Mundy's got good quickness. She gets the hoop well, good free throw shooter. Could be South Point's key to getting back into the game.
I think they've been trying to set that screen, but again, Warnock did a good job earlier of cutting that sideline off, and Hall gave up the sideline, allowing her to go up, get that screen. Hall really needs to beat her to the sideline, push her back to the middle. All her help is back to the middle of the floor.
A rare 0 for 2 for Mundy at the line. Fairland's going to get the ball back. Hall bringing the ball up the floor. Out to Hayden. A little ill-advised pass to Wagner. Saved by Marshall. Again, showing that great length. Not many kids can get to that ball at that point. South Point recovers, looks up.
On that pass there from Fairland offensively, Wagner needs to step to the basketball. She kind of had her position, but not stepping to the ball made it a lot easier for the South Point player to get her hand on the basketball.
Coach Freeman taking a timeout here, probably to settle down there. He had an opportunity at a fast break, and really just they got a little ahead of themselves. The game got a little quick on them. We're going to come back from the timeout. South Point's going to get the ball out deep on the side.
Fairland still in that man-to-man.
Again, I can see South Point move a little more here. See, it's too predictable. Fairland, Tori Hall is able to drop back there, tip that ball out. Now she causes the foul, but she was able to read that because South Point's just not moving enough on offense to give Fairland any kind of threat on defense.
Actually, must have called a jump ball, or did he call a foul on South Point? I'm not quite sure what the call was there. But again, the length of Fairland, even at the guard position with somebody like Tori Hall, very long arms.
Fairland will take the ball in on the side.
I can tell you when I play against a team with length, I'm constantly preaching the week before, ball fakes are your best friend. Ball fake, get them high, get them jumping, bounce pass around. Try and get them to commit to a ball fake, and that way it makes that pass a lot easier.
Yeah, you get that length airborne, and you have finally the smaller person has the advantage. Sturgis on the turnaround just rolls out. Offensive rebound, Warnock. 34 for South Point. Ashley Perkey comes back with the rebound. And South Point will retain possession.
Again, that Tori Hall deflecting a pass there. Ball goes out of bounds. Fairland doesn't get possession, but allows them to set back up in this press.
Tipped out of bounds. Good hustle play by Tori Hall. South Point on the side with possession. 1:35 left in the third. It's 24-16 Fairland. Mundy top the key.
I tell you, Coach, an adjustment I always made when I felt like we really needed an offensive basket was to put our best player, regardless if it was a guard, a forward, or a center, at the foul line and try and get them the ball in the teeth of that defense. Because if somebody's going to make a play at that spot, it's probably going to be your best player. I'd maybe like to see Coach Freeman put Mundy there at the foul line and let her work. But you know, that's assuming that they can get the ball across half court here.
Mundy shoved out of bounds there off the press and will retain possession.
Can't give up that sideline. Bad things happen when you give up that sideline.
Yeah, Fairland's got to get there quicker, cut that off, overcut that sideline, get that left foot across the sideline, force that ball back into your help defense.
Brittany Thompson in the game for Kelsey Warnock.
Like to see South Point flash somebody either up high, get some movement. There she's rolling down on the drive. Rolls off, but South Point's going to be shooting 2 off the foul. Mundy back at the line.
Nice take by Mundy with her offhand again. A right-handed kid going left-handed to the rim. It's much harder to guard a kid if they can attack with either hand. Knocks down her first one. Completes both. Fairland bringing the basketball down the floor.
South Point could really use a nice defensive stop here at the end of the quarter.
South Point in a 1-2-2 or a 3-2.
Rotates down. It's good help there from 24, South Point. Thompson to the middle of the lane. Shots long, rebounded by South Point. Mundy's pushing the ball up the center of the floor.
You know, I know that's a missed shot by Thompson, but that's a shot that Coach Blake wants them to take. She catches on the three-point line. She squares up. Hard closeout. One dribble, she gets in the lane. And that's just a quality shot, and that's the kind of shots that Coach Blake wants right now.
Good look from Mundy, the short corner. Not there, kicks back out. Back to Mundy. Nobody backside, box out for Fairland, and South Point gets the easy offensive putback. Shot at the half court's no good. And South Point, who let this game get to a double-digit lead, cut it to 6 going into the fourth quarter, Coach. What's Coach Freeman need to do these last 6 minutes to give him a shot, his team a shot?
Well, I have to feel that his ball handling is going to get a little better here. I feel like we have to see number 24. She was one of the 7th graders that played the game earlier. She was the State Farm player of the game. So, again, I think his ball handling is going to get quite a little bit better. If Coach Freeman can get the ball back into the front court and run a half-court sets, I think he's got a great chance of scoring the basketball. He also needs to get Mundy I feel like his best offensive player in a scoring position. She's done a great job here in this quarter, getting in the lane and scoring, finding open kids backside, and really cut that lead and giving South Point a chance here to get back into this game.
You know, with Witt in the game, he may be able now to take Mundy off the ball, bringing it off the floor to get her in a better scoring position. We anticipated seeing her in this half, and we have. Fairland's going to start the quarter with the ball up 6. Good close out there from South Point. Loose ball on the floor, recovered by the Dragons. Aaron Hayden to Taylor Henderson. Nice little 6-foot bank shot. Puts the lead back to 8 for the Dragons.
Again, Coach, when you have maybe your 8th kid or your 9th kid off the bench making plays like that's 2 bench players from one bench player to the other. The assist and the finish, like as a head coach, that's just a luxury that most people don't have.
No, yeah, most coaches anywhere in the nation would be happy to have that kind of depth on their bench. Fairland back with the ball, back to Hayden. Good cut through for a Hall. Tip going up. Block shot from South Point. Ball's tipped around. Panel shot to foul line, just short. Rebounded by number 4. Fouled on the play.
Number 23, Kazee with the foul, trying to tie the ball up from the backside. Again, just another hustle play. Those are the type of plays you don't mind as a coach, that you get the foul.
Yeah, no, you can't. Coach Blake can't be upset at all with how hard his kids are going. Back into the press. Again, no sideline help, so Money's able to sprint. Gets the ball hung up on her hip, traveling violation, turnover. Just got, again, everything got a little fast for her there. Ball got hung up as she was trying to go to the hoop, turns the ball over.
Sometimes kids can overanalyze things. I think she was trying to make the read. I think she wanted to pass it there, but the right play was to shoot the basketball. And I think she just was trying to make a decision that wasn't really there. She just needed to go to the rim and shoot the ball.
Entry pass from Witt into Lundy, I'm sorry.
Seems like Coach Freeman's doing exactly what we talked about, trying to get Mundy in a position to score. He's moved her to the block. He has another ball handler in the game. He can do that now.
Number 4 from 3. Banks it in. Big three-point shot for the Pointers. Caitlin Roach cuts the lead to 5 for the Pointers. You know, sometimes, you need those kind of shots to go in that don't always look great out of the hand, but when they go through the net as a coach, you're pumped that it went through. And speaking of that, Fairland answers with the basket.
Sometimes it's very important when a team makes a great play to come down and respond with just a simple basket, and that's what Fairland did.
Witt's 3 is short. Ball back to the Dragons. Jackie Wagner back into the game for the Dragons. Probably Coach Blake trying to counter Lundy underneath, but a little more physical presence on her underneath, make those shots a little more difficult.
Also bringing in number 11, Allie Marshall. Again, another long, lanky defender.
All fouled on the cut through and shot to the middle. She's going to go to the line for 2. She's been making that pass and cut to the middle just about every offensive play. She's getting the ball, and she took the ball to the hoop there, got the foul.
Something I'd like to see Hall do there is when she catch, square up immediately to the basket. The bottom girl in their zone kind of came up and guarded it. Marshall made a great cut to the backside. That's an easy pitch and catch for a layup if Hall would just be a little more offensive-minded and square up and look at the rim.
She makes the second. It's going to allow Fairland to get back in that press. 8-point lead for the Dragons. South Point gets the ball across half court, back to Witt. Tip back from behind. There's that length done by Marshall. She's going to run the fast break over to Warnock. Good block, good defense by the Pointers, and now they're going to get the run. Mundy cut through there. Witt from the corner. Good hustle play. Both teams hitting the floor for the ball. Jump ball is going to give the ball back to South Point.
Timeout by Coach Freeman here with 3:07 left in the fourth quarter, down 9. What do you feel like Coach Freeman needs to do here to get back into this basketball game?
Well, he's got a good handler in Witt, and she's shown from the first game we watched this morning that she can also shoot the 3. Which, with her, maybe a little inside-out action with Lundy, make Fairland move, maybe a cut through, maybe a give and let Witt cut through. I'd like just to see some more movement from Coach Freeman's offense. Get the Dragons maybe overcommitting, a little head fake, a little around, something to give them some presence. As far as defensively, just stay patient, help. Don't allow that ball into the block, deny the block as best they can. And when they get the chance to run, they need to run against Fairland.
Again, at the end of the game, the State Farm Insurance Player of the Game will be presented by Ricky Schiffko, be presented to the MVP for each team here today. Witt bringing the ball up the floor, guarded by Tori Hall.
I think Coach Blake's made a nice move. He's put Allie Marshall on her length on Mundy. And it's causing her a little bit of trouble. I mean, that length will cause most kids at this age any trouble. And I think Allie's doing a nice job on defense.
I mean, her length might not exactly translate on TV. She's a legitimate 5'10" with probably a 6 foot plus wingspan.
Witt for the three, just off to the left. But offensive rebounds come back out for the Pointers, and they're going to reset.
These long shot that South Point's taking that they need to take, these wide open threes like Witt took right there, are going to translate to long rebounds. Great outlet pass by Kelsey Warnock to Allie Marshall for 2.
Good tip there. South Point's going to maintain possession. But Fairland really trying to put the pressure on there.
And Fairland just keeps rotating kids in. I know South Point's played basically the same 4 kids plus a 7th grader the whole game, and those kids are starting to get tired. But here comes Mundy, great take to the rim, foul by number 22 Peyton Sturgis, which will send her to the line.
You know, and Coach Freeman's got to encourage those takes to the basket, get to the foul line, especially with Mundy. Good enough foul shot to extend this game, let foul shots without the clock moving, maybe bring the score a little closer down.
First one's good.
Taking in the lineup now for the Lady Dragons will be number 4, Brittany Thompson.
Second one's good. That brings it to an 8-point ball game. Fairland bringing the ball down the floor. Allie Marshall, number 11. She's going to swing it to Thompson.
I don't know if you've noticed, Coach. Coach Blake's not afraid of who brings the ball down the floor. 6 or 7 different kids who's brought the ball down the floor. Another nice, wonderful luxury to have at this age.
Absolutely.
That wasn't a carry, but that early was a foul.
Take by Witt. Offensive rebound. What great hustle there. Again, by a 7th grader here in the 8th grade game. Marshall still on Mundy underneath, trying to deny from the back. Straight up. You know, good shot, just a miss. It's going off Marshall. It's going to stay here. You know what? I'm glad to see Mundy. She took her time there. She got turned. She went into her, and you know, wasn't worried about the block. Wasn't worried about anything. She just went up with a shot. It didn't go in that time. I hope she continues with that, even against the length of Fairland.
Coach Freeman looked like he'd taken a play from Coach Blake's playbook there. Of course, I say that, but just about every middle school team runs that, boys or girls, just a simple stack play.
Witt ties up Kazee on the side here. Going to stay with the Dragons on the side. Marshall to throw in. Thompson cuts down. Lob to Henderson. Back to Thompson, who gets tied up in the lane. You know, kind of the little one in there with the big trees. You got to make a decision to get in, get the shot up, or get out of there. Holding the ball against the defense is not the right thing to do there. But good, again, a good little coachable moment when you look at the tape here next week.
Maybe something, you know, me being more of a post-oriented coach, post-player coach, I would blame number 5 there, Henderson, for giving the ball back to Thompson with 2 taller defenders less than 3 feet away from her. Henderson's got to make that recognition, again, make that read, and not throw it back to Thompson.
South Point foul gives the ball back to Fairland. Entry into Henderson. On the floor.
Another jump ball. Should be Fairland possession. South Point's not giving up at this point. They're down 8 with 1:03 left. They're trying to tie up every loose ball. They're doing a great job defensively.
You know, a foul there, but, you know, a good move by Marshall. And I agree with you, Coach. I think South Point's probably played some of their best defense of the game here in the last 3-4 minutes. Thompson, the inbound from the underneath. Entry into Marshall, who pulls it back out. We're under a minute.
Smart play by Marshall. Up 8. They don't need a bucket. They need the clock to run.
Another jump ball tie-up. We'll give the ball back to the Pointers. See what Coach Freeman can dial up here with 50.5 left to play in the game, down 8.
Good pass by Witt.
That dribble there, if she doesn't take that dribble and she makes the pass, South Point's going to get a layup. She puts the ball on the floor, gives the defense time to recover, and it's a turnover. It's those little decisions, those little extra seconds that count at this age, getting them to understand, you know, what's the right thing to do, when's the right time to put the ball on the floor, when's the right time not to put the ball on the floor.
Number 23, shooting 1-1.
Fairland now in the bonus off the foul, puts Kazee at the line for 1 in bonus.
Good hustle play by number 11, Allie Marshall. Ball out of bounds to South Point.
Coach Blake's backing out of the press here at 37-8 to go, up 8.
I think right here, Coach, what I would do is exactly what he's doing. Press not to steal, but press to slow down the ball down the floor, to keep that clock going. Go ahead and let her catch the ball, but just keep her in front of you.
Yeah, just that right there cost South Point 4 seconds off the clock that they really need. It's a great take by Lundy. Good crossover to the left hand to talk about her as a right-hander going left there. I think she caught Henderson maybe a little off guard, and she panicked, grabbed the arm on the way up. Now Lundy's going to shoot 2.
Again, just one of those things that these 8th grade girls need to understand. They don't need a steal and a score. They need the clock to keep running. And it's hard to tell an 8th grade kid, we don't want you to be aggressive right here. We want you to just play good position defense, keep the girl in front of you, and just keep that clock running. Don't steal the basketball. Keep the clock running.
Lundy converts 1 of 2. Coach Freeman's going to take a full timeout with 30.2. All right, now, Coach, you're not a pressing team. You're down 7 with 30 seconds. Do you put any full court pressure to try to force a turnover and a quick shot? Because you need the time. Time's your enemy here. What's Coach Freeman going to do to get that ball back?
At this point, you're a 3-possession game. You're going to have to take some kind of chance. You might have to break character. You might have to break what your team does effectively and take a chance to try to get the ball here. Something else that I hope Coach Freeman's preaching in the huddle right now is that we're in the bonus, we're pressing, go be very aggressive to the basketball. If we foul, we send them the foul line. We're hoping that they miss the front end of the one-on-one. We're getting the rebound. So he's really in a spot now. I know 30 seconds is a whole lot of time, but he's in a spot now that he can be aggressive defensively and either get the steal or foul them and stop the clock and hope they miss the front end of the one-on-one, and we're not wasting a whole lot of time.
Yeah, I agree. I think you got to put yourself in position to make a jab at the steal. If you don't, I think you foul immediately, and let's extend this 30 seconds as long as we can. Fairland's been an okay foul shooting team. Depends on who's at the line. They've not been consistently great. So I'd like to see a little pressure here from South Point. Looks like we're going to get it. Go for the steal. If you don't get it, let's put Fairland at the line, see if we can extend the game. South Point on the deflection. Ball's going to stay with Fairland. South Point in a man switch press. Gets the ball in. And they're fouling immediately. Just like we talked about, I think Coach Freeman's doing the right thing. Goes for the steal, doesn't get it. Let's put Fairland at the line.
Now that puts the pressure on number 5, Taylor Henderson. Just calm down. Just make the front end here of the one-on-one. She banks it.
Big foul shots. Every one of these makes for Fairland in the stretch. Just makes it that much harder for Coach Freeman and the Pointers.
The miss. South Point trying to quickly transition. Great look from number 24, Witt, to number 4. She misses. Rebound, 23, Mundy.
You know, that's 2 great looks for South Point. They didn't get the conversion. They're going to keep the ball here, but I think they're handling this last few seconds the correct way.
Again, I'm so impressed with this 7th grade group from South Point.
Ball on the floor, tied up. Good hustle by both teams. Ball should go back to Fairland here. 4.6 left to go. 34-26 is the lead for the Dragons.
All Fairland has to do is get the ball in here and hold it. They don't have to dribble. They can't get a 5-second call. There's only 4.6 seconds. They just need to hold the ball. Game over. That looks like what's going to happen. Well, that concludes our second game here at the Tri-State Hoops Throwdown, presented by High University and our other sponsor, the State Farm agent here in Proctorville, Ricky Shifko. Ricky Shifko will be presenting the Player of the Game plaques to both teams here. So let's take a short break here and listen as they announce the players of the game from Fairland and the players of the game from South Point.
For the South Point Pointers, if Caitlin Monday will come to center court. Congratulations, Caitlin. And now for our own Lady Dragons, it will be number 11, Abby Marshall. Congratulations, Abby.
Well, that concludes our second game here at the Tri-State Hoops Throwdown. The Fairland Lady Dragons defeat the Lady Pointers. Thank you again for viewing Armstrong Cable's viewing or showing of the Tri-State Hoops Throwdown.